Welcome to another episode of the Archives with Adam and Fab. As always, I have to bring on one of my guests, and you guys know him from many of my videos, many of our posts, things like that. And if you're not familiar with them, bro, Samdogg, the infamous 253, bro, let them know.
That's right, because if you ain't with it, you ain't infamous. With Adam and Fab, the Archives, make sure you keep supporting them, especially after the major Zordon interview he just did and whatever more he has coming up. You know, he's going to bring it every time.
Yep. So I got on with Daniel. I did one with CG, and I have to do one with you, bro. Being that you're the biggest Seahawks fan I know next to Big Low and Mama Blue, R.I.P.
Yeah, rest in peace, Mama Blue.
Yeah, bro. So, I just want to talk football. We're getting ready to – football season's already started, bro. We got the schedule coming out next week. We're going to find out when we play the Giants over in MetLife.
Yep. And then, hold on a second. I feel like I got to put my Seahawks cap on. Give me a second. I don't know. I'm in a tank top and whatnot. And I really – all right. Here.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep. Yeah, man. So, we made some moves this offseason. And, man, I'm really happy with a lot of them. I mean, whether it's free agency to the draft, what are you thinking? What are your thoughts going into the season?
So far, I think I like the way that we addressed the needs in the final day. We addressed a lot of the interior needs of run stoppers and interior offensive linemen with Anthony Bradford out of LSU. And then, of course, getting Oluwatimi from Michigan, the big center, which he did not give up a single sack last season, too, on over 389 snaps from what I remember from my little reaction video. So I like the center, but, it's like we never know how these things are going to pan out because obviously the draft is the biggest crapshoot in all of sports. I mean, especially with some of these certain positions. But I remember I was a little shocked on the first pick, Devin Witherspoon, when we took that cornerback, who was ranked one of the best cornerbacks. And me and my buddy Nate, who had that work accident, when I had him on, we were reacting to the pick. His first thought was when we saw the hit, when I was like, oh, if you remember in the video, it's like that hit is the reason why the Seahawks drafted him. And I even saw Pete Carroll Stacey A. Smith posted a post on his Instagram saying that Pete Carroll was comparing Devin Witherspoon a lot to Troy Polamalu.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, that's correct, bro. I mean, dude, you know how Troy was, man. We grew up watching Troy. I mean, we're seeing a new era of players. And, we were both questioning, right? A lot of fans were like, why did we pick Devin Witherspoon? But once we seen that footage and doing the research, I think we know.
That first hit got me, the one where he just blasted that guy against Indiana. That was the one that got me. I was like, oh, it's like that might be like that looked like something Cam Chancellor did. And then now seeing the thing about Pete comparing him to Troy Polamalu from when he had Troy at USC and obviously for what he did all those years with the Pittsburgh Steelers is really hoping, especially that he brings the hard hitting dynamics and to see him across the field from Tariq Woolen with Kobe Bryant in the slot. Then I think we're going to have a pretty good secondary and teams are going to start to have a whole lot of hard times passing on us. And Witherspoon is pretty good playing in the zone, too. I was just watching Urinating Trees video with his funny reactions to certain things, too. But really hoping Witherspoon brings the boom. Maybe we can have a potential Legion of Boom or Boom 2.0, as we want to call it, if we ever get it started again. And Witherspoon hopefully is the next one that brings that boom.
For sure. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, there's only one Legion of Boom. So we'll definitely have to name these guys something else. And, I mean, our fan base in Seattle always has some kind of weird name that they will start calling a team. But, yeah, man, I think that was a really solid pick. Probably the best corner in the draft.
Yep.
But let's talk about that number 2 pick, bro. Number 2 pick, first round.
I'll stay. Yep.
Yeah, and we had talked – go ahead.
Trio right there is what we're trying to build right there with him in the slot. You got him, Lockett, and Metcalf. We're talking a nasty trio we're talking about here with Jackson Smith and the Jigba. I was surprised at that one, but I was like, I had a crazy reaction to that because I knew he was one of the, if not one of the best receivers in this draft. And so what he did in that Rose Bowl against Utah was pretty freaking insane too. And I remember Dallas first brought it up to my attention while we were reacting to the pick too. Jackson Smith and Jigba, he's got that speed. As long as he's got the hands to, and if he can stay healthy, I'm pretty excited to see what he does with Lockett and Metcalf. And we're going to be getting ready to torch teams' secondaries, especially Arizona's secondary. And, and then also another thing, one of the analysts said, Pete Carroll's trying to build this team to beat the 49ers, which we know the 49ers are obviously going to be the obvious top dog of the division. Granted, I think their biggest concern is going to be what holds them back, maybe the quarterback position. If Brock Purdy's going to be out the entire year, if they're going to go obviously Trey Lance or Sam Darnold, who they got in the preseason. And we know they still got that deadly defense, but we obviously have to try to find ways to counteract that with the moves we make, especially what we did on day number 2. Pete was going super aggressive, him and John Schneider. But Jackson Smith and Jigba at Ohio State, I really love the way that we did that pick, especially after we lost Marquise Goodwin during the offseason with him going to the Cleveland Browns. I thought that was a good makeup for losing him and having him play in the slot. And if he and Metcalf and Lockett click, I'm saying potential trio. Grant, I think we know the best receiving trio in the league is still the Cincinnati Bengals, without a doubt, though, with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. They got a trio.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. But I mean, bro, that's the thing. We've seen what Geno could do with all of his weapons, right? I mean, he had Marquise Goodwin, who actually bailed us out quite a few times last year, right? What's that?
That LA Chargers game was his best game.
Exactly. But he had some pretty solid games where he made big plays when we needed him to. But I mean, it's safe to say we're moving forward with Geno. Who knows what Drew Lock's position is going to be like moving forward in the future, but it's going to be an exciting year for football. And yesterday I had that conversation with CG. We talked about that quarterback situation. It's hard to say, man. I personally don't believe Purdy's going to come back and play to his full potentials. I hate to say. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be hard to bounce back from that injury,
Tommy John surgery, that takes like a year to recover from. Usually Tommy John surgery, you usually know that with baseball.
Yep. And not in football. So
yeah, that's football too.
Exactly. But man, I was a little shocked with all the running backs that we took this year in the draft. Zach Charbonnet, I believe, will complement Kenneth Walker really well. Yeah. Just because go ahead.
Charbonnet, especially, I've heard someone coming on my channel saying that he gave him some comparisons to Marshawn Lynch, which I don't think he'll wear Marshawn Lynch's number. I don't think anybody's going to touch number 24 again in Seattle. Let's be real on that. But sure. We had to make up for the losing of Rashad Penny, and then, of course, getting Kenny McIntosh later, making up for losing Travis Homer. It's like, we had to make up for those losses of those 2 running backs that we lost. Granted, I know Homer was mainly a special teams guy, and he was a good special teams player and a good blocker too. And of course, we still got DJ Dallas on the roster too. But Charbonnet is going to bring a whole other physicalness that I think will be great to take a load off of Kenneth Walker III because we don't want to chance any of these guys, getting hurt, because we've had issues with having running backs get hurt. The Marshawn Lynch curse, as Hawks Nest called it, with because Marshawn Lynch was the last true running back we had that never really got injured and mostly played most of the season. Well, he didn't play the entire 2015 season though, but you get what the point is. We got to have healthy running back. We got to have a healthy running back room. And Charbonnet, I think he's going to be a great compliment to Walker. And then same with Kenny McIntosh, which I've seen he can catch out the backfield. He's a 7th-round pick. Maybe he could be, maybe this year's Isaiah Pacheco, like Isaiah Pacheco was last year with Kansas City. I mean, look what the Kansas City got out of it. They got a Super Bowl out of that 7th-round pick.
Exactly. I mean, bro, I'm a Husky fan, and I've seen Zach play for many years against us. And the dude ran all over us many times, and I think he also contributed to that loss we had against UCLA this year. So, I mean, just seeing a lot of these names, man, they've all been key players in the NFL, in the NCAA. And I mean, will a lot of that talent carry over to the NFL? We will only see, right?
That's what
exactly. But I want to talk real quick some of our off-season acquisitions. I mean, bro, we weren't expected to be in the playoffs. We both know that. We weren't expected to be there at all, but we did. and we shocked a lot of people. That's for sure. And truth be told, we probably could have won a lot more of those games that we did lose if we did clean it up, right? If we had a stronger defense.
Yeah, we crapped the bed against the Carolina Panthers with those interceptions early and turnovers, and just we could have definitely. And then of course the Raider game where we just let Josh Jacobs run all over us too. Definitely some winnable games we didn't cash in. We have to be able to start cashing in. There were some winnable games that we dropped too. I mean, Tampa Bay game too in Germany. Well, it's always hard to play against a guy like Tom Brady, obviously, who's now retired and obviously going into the Hall of Fame in 2028. I think that's his first year eligible. But lots of things we got to fix, especially stopping the run and then. But acquisitions we got this year. Yeah, what do you want to start with?
I want to talk about Bobby Wagner coming back, bro. Let's talk about that. Honestly, he should have never left in the beginning, from the get-go.
Never wanted to leave.
Exactly. He should have never been let go. If you ask me, he obviously would have been a big leader on that defense this last year. And I believe that probably would have been a game changer as well, right? Because we didn't really have any leaders. I mean, Quandre, unfortunately, I wouldn't call him a leader. Jamal, he's just been too injury prone since we got him. But we needed a true leader, someone that knew our system and our team and could lead that locker room. And I feel like that might have been an issue we had, right?
Yeah.
But we got him back for a year, and I'm excited to see how that turns out. I believe he'll contribute a lot, especially to what was I gonna say? To guys like Devin Bush and Jordan Brooks.
Well, I'm surprised that they didn't pick up the 5th-year option on Jordan Brooks. That was kind of a surprise right there too. I know a lot of fans saw it coming. I was listening to Brendan Nelson's video about it too, but because of the torn ACL may have had something to do with it, but we'll see how he is when he comes back. But the next pick we got into though too. Other than that, back to the pick wise, you got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Sure, we got from Auburn University and Derek Hall.
Mm-hmm. That's gonna be a good pickup, bro. He's hopefully he gets a big role, at least next year, and that could be obviously a great step for Wagner to mentor him, right?
Oh yeah, I mean he's an edge rusher, but we've also been saying that we've been needing to get back to getting pressure on the opposing quarterbacks and getting some hits and getting some sacks and rebuilding that pass rush. We've been saying I've been saying for a while, you and me, and I've been saying we have to build that pass rush and start getting after quarterbacks and force them out and force them to make errant throws so that way we can force turnovers and get other interceptions too. So getting after the quarterback is always going to be key, especially when we want to dominate the line of scrimmage again. That's why San Francisco's been so good in winning our division, because they're able to dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And that's why trenches is probably the most important spot other than, having a quarterback. You got to have good trenches to give your quarterback good protection, and you got to have it on the defensive side to get after opposing teams' quarterbacks and get the sacks and force the turnovers.
For sure. I mean, and then that's kind of what we've been lacking, obviously, right? Now we got some corners that are ball hawks as well. Tariq, that guy, he was a stud last year. We got Witherspoon that's going to be probably stepping in as a starter. Let's be truthful there.
We still got Kobe
Bryant. Yep. I'm hoping they find a role for him because he showed a lot of potential, but we need to get pressure, get those quarterbacks throwing the ball, right?
Yeah.
And getting them thrown into our guys so we could, start winning those games on defense again, because our offense. Go ahead.
Got to stop the run too. I mean, and then hopefully Jamal could stay healthy this year, and we still got Quandre Diggs as safety, and then we drafted that one guy, Jarek Hall, that one dude from
Jarek Reed from New Mexico.
The guy from New Mexico, which another safety depth. Then also we added Julian Love from the New York Giants. Season 2, so it'll be interesting to see what I'm anxious to see what Julian Love does back there too, because we really got some depth here, but Jarek Reed, you think maybe he'll be a special teams guy, maybe practice squad if depending on how he looks, or will he be, or is that a death move in the draft?
I mean, it could go either way, right? I mean, we don't know right now, but I mean, Jarek Reed is not too bad. If you ask me, he could potentially be a hidden gem. We never know, right? But that's where the eye test comes in this preseason.
Yeah, and then of course Anthony Bradford. I was really happy about getting this interior guard Bradford, and then Bradford and Oluwatimi getting those two offensive linemen because we're going to need to be able to pass protect and get. Well, I think Bradford is going to be good for opening up holes for Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. We got to be able to open up those holes for running the ball too. But the question is though, can he pass protect too? Because we're going to need pass protection too to give Geno enough time to stand up in the pocket and make certain throws to Lockett and Metcalf and get wide open receivers, or get a running back out of the backfield if we decide to do like a screen pass or a dump off.
Yeah, we'll definitely see him, man. I definitely like Oluwatimi. He's a big body, and that's kind of what we need. Bro, I was really impressed with Christian Cross, or Charles Cross last year, and Abe Lucas. I mean, let's be honest, those guys weren't. What's that?
They were dogs, man. Both came out of Mike Leach's coaching system. One from obviously Mississippi State with Charles Cross, and then obviously Abe Lucas from his time at Washington State, which he got a lot of years under. Got the final years of Mike Leach at Washington State. Rest in peace, Mike Leach. Got to say that too. But two Mike Leach guys. I remember Pete Carroll actually called up Mike Leach talking about those guys before drafting them too. So Mike Leach gave Pete Carroll some good insight on those guys, and when we got them last year, they proved to be big time vital parts to this offensive line. Will be huge parts of that offensive line going forward.
For sure, yeah. No, it's going to be exciting to see them year two and these new additions. Now they're not rookies no more. You can pretty much call them veterans, but they haven't been in the game that long. Right.
And then, of course, you got also on the defensive side, we drafted Cameron Young out of KJ Wright's alma mater, Mississippi State, which hopefully he looks like he's going to be one of the big-time key pieces to getting back to stopping the run. If the Vegas game wasn't, evident of we need to get run stoppers, and with the way San Francisco was able to run the ball all over us. I mean, probably the reason why we brought back Jaron Reed as well during free agency, and of course brought in Draymond Jones, the former Denver Bronco, which he actually said he was hoping to be part of the Russell Wilson trade. From what I've seen from interviews, he wanted to be part of that Russell Wilson trade. But Draymond Jones and Jaron Reed and Cameron Young can pitch into stopping the run. And I know we lost Al Woods. Al Woods just signed with the New York Jets today, and then of course losing Puna Ford. We still maybe got some other moves that we can make during this free agency, but with the losses of, obviously we released Al Woods, so we had a feeling he might go elsewhere. We released Shelby Harris, and then Puna Ford was going to be a free agent, and he signed with the Buffalo Bills, which I think is going to be a beast addition for the Buffalo Bills. I've had Buffalo Bills fans coming at me on my video saying some things about asking me about Puna Ford, and what I told them they were getting the dog out of them, and they were thanking me for that video and whatnot too. But Cameron Young, I think he's going to be a big contributor with Jaron Reed, and hopefully Draymond Jones is stopping the run, unless we got the Draymond going to be on the pass rush, because he had like 6.5 sacks or close to 7 sacks. And then of course, what I've been seeing a lot of people are calling the first guy we drafted out of Michigan before Oluwatimi, the defensive end, Mike Morris. Some people might be calling. I don't know. I know it may be it's going to be too early to tell, but Mike Morris, the defensive end, they're calling him a steal.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some people are really hyped on Mike Morris, and I really hope that the hype is real with that one on Mike, because he freaking was killing it at Michigan. It's like Morris was the second defensive lineman drafted by Seattle on Saturday, after also picking up Mississippi State nose tackle Cameron Young in the 4th round. It's amazing. He said again, I'm trying to see if they had any stats on him. He weighs up to 200. Morris weighs up to 295 pounds, and Seahawks see him as a big defensive end in their 3-4 scheme. We need to go back to I thought they were going to go back to the 4-3 defense, but last season Morris was named the Big Ten Conference Defensive Lineman of the Year after recording a team high 11 tackles for loss, including 7.5 sacks to go along with 3 pass breakups, a forced fumble, and a block kick on special teams.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what happens, but I mean, taking him in the 5th round like that, we'll take it, right?
Yeah. And then, like I mentioned, Oluwatimi, he didn't. I don't think he gave up. They're saying he didn't give up a sack last year on over. From when I had my draft reaction video, I saw it live, and I said like 389. I think it was 389 consecutive snaps last year where he didn't give up a sack, which is pretty much basically a full season. But let's see what we can get out of this dude too. I know we got Evan Brown from the former Detroit Lion as a center, and I know he also plays guard too. But we'll see how these guys look during the preseason. See how much guard that Evan Brown plays or if he'll play be the majority center for the season, or see if Oluwatimi maybe could become that guy maybe at the center position for the future for the Seahawks too. Time will tell. And like we already talked about Jarek Reed, and now we got to talk about Kenny McIntosh out of Georgia, the other running back.
Yes. Yeah, man. Let's talk about him. I mean, he obviously was a big part of that Georgia offense. I mean, Georgia had a huge draft class this year. I mean, all kinds of guys going. But I mean, you also know they were national champs last year and put the mollywop in on TCU, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, I love my college ball, and this is kind of why we do it, is because, I mean, obviously it helps us set up for the NFL draft. And it takes me back from even playing on NCAA and drafted my guys from NCAA after I played 4 years over into Madden. So, like,
Yeah.
Bro, that's kind of what got me from my love in following both sports at the same, or both levels at the different times. Is because you never know, right? You never know who your team could get, and you may want a certain player going to your team. So, yeah, man, Kenny McIntosh, I think it's hard to say, man, because we just added 3 running backs to our arsenal this year, but we needed them.
Yeah, I mean, well, pretty much we added 2 more because we lost Rashad Penny and we lost.
Yep.
We still got DJ Dallas and we added Charbonnet. But I was watching highlights on Kenny McIntosh, and Stetson Bennett was hitting him on a bunch of passes. So one good thing about him is knowing that out the backfield too, if he wants to run some of those routes, kind of like what J.D. McKissick did from some of his time with the Seahawks when he was a running back playing receiver, and then. If we can get some open holes with this guy, he's got the speed, and he's got in addition to rushing for a team high 829 yards and 10 touchdowns last season, McIntosh also caught 43 passes for 504 yards and 2 scores while starting 14 games for the back-to-back national champions.
Okay. Well, that's pretty big, bro.
Yeah. And then obviously it's like, we were talking about Isaiah Pacheco going in the 7th round from Rutgers to the Kansas City Chiefs and how big of an impact he had. Sometimes these good running backs will fall depending on the right system you have and the good line you have, and they can be big time dividend players for how late you can get a running back of that potential. But I'm just anxious to see what he does in the preseason and hopefully see if he can make the team. That's why I'm intrigued by the Charbonnet and McIntosh picks, but we know the big guy getting most of the primary carries is definitely going to be Kenneth Walker III too, and I'm hoping that he has another big year. And I mean, he rushed for over 1,000 yards last year, and he scored a playoff touchdown against the 49ers in that loss to San Francisco. And really want to know how much more Kenneth Walker is going to do in his career, and I hope he has another big breakout year, especially with the moves we made on the offensive line this year too.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to see him kind of clean it up a little bit, though, and kind of just run, bro. Stop running to the outside. Exactly. Go forward. Yeah, exactly. Go forward, not to the side or out of bounds, right? That kind of reminds me of that movie Gridiron Gang. Remember when that running back, he would run out of bounds?
Yeah, I never really saw that. Never seen that movie, but yeah, do tell.
Yeah, I mean, the guy just was scared to get hit. We'll have to watch that sometime. But, yeah, I mean, the running back was just scared to get hit. And, obviously, bro, football's a contact sport, and that's what you sign up for.
I've seen Walker run through contact before. He ran through contact against the Arizona Cardinals, especially that road game I went to when he scored the final touchdown. Granted, he had a little help from Colby Parkinson lifting him and getting into the corner of that end zone when we beat Arizona 31-21 to pretty much put the dirt over their grave when we pretty much buried them. And then, of course, obviously, he closed out the other Arizona game, the one that I took you in Dallas to, in Seattle.
Yeah, man. Well, there's one more guy I want to talk about that we haven't talked about yet. You know who?
Who are we talking about?
Devin Bush. We picked up Devin Bush as well this offseason. Now, I feel like Devin Bush could potentially fit in, but he could potentially be a filler somewhere along down the roads when somebody gets hurt, right? I could see a battle between Devin Bush and Jordan Brooks just because I don't feel like Brooks has been consistent, the last several years. And that's kind of why, like, this is kind of his last chance with us, right? That's why we didn't pick up that fifth-year option. Plus, also, he would have cost us $12 million in cap, right?
That's what I heard too. Is he would have cost us $12 million in cap too, but I do have my question marks on Devin Bush because he hasn't been able to stay healthy the last couple of years too. And I think Steeler fans looked happy that he was pretty much out, and because he had that one good year, and then after that his production dropped and he was getting injured. So I do have a lot of concern. That's my biggest concern on Devin Bush is can he stay healthy and can he be productive? So I have question marks on red flags on Devin Bush.
Yeah, I mean, it'll play out whatever way it plays out. We didn't get him for much, I mean, it didn't cost much to get him. But, I mean, it'll play out the way it plays out. But, we'll see. It's going to be exciting, bro. It's going to be an exciting year for football. We have all these young guys coming in. There's going to be a lot of true position battles coming in this year.
UDFAs, don't forget UDFAs, especially since we got CJ Johnson from East Carolina and his quarterback that he's been with since high school too. Granted, that we'll see a lot of him during the preseason. Usually, Pete and John, there's one thing they're good at. They're good at finding at least one undrafted gem in each of their after the draft, after each year. I know one of them, which I was watching some highlights of CJ Johnson from East Carolina, the wide receiver, and I looked at, and then of course there was that other guy, Noah Dindorf, I think it was from. I don't think I said his name right. Noah didn't. The quarterback from. I mean, not the quarterback. The tight end from North Dakota State.
Okay. Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see how it goes. We talked about taking a road game this year and going to New York. So once that schedule comes out, we'll see how it goes, right?
Yeah, Noah Gindorf. That's the one. Noah Gindorf. That's the one. I said it right.
Okay.
So Noah Gindorf, he might be an intriguing tight end. I want to see what he does in the preseason too. I just hope that he can. I don't know because with Will Dissly getting injured. He's got injured again. Granted, he played most of the year, but we might need a filler with that, and hopefully Gindorf. Getting him undrafted, maybe that could be a gem for our tight end room too. And
we seem to find tight ends. Like, we seem to be able to pick them up and use them pretty well. They seem to fit our offenses pretty well.
And Noah Fant had a pretty good year catching the ball for us last year too, as a catching tight end for us. I mean, Fant had a pretty decent year. I mean, Dissly, if he could just stay healthy, we know Dissly's good. Colby Parkinson's pitched in pretty well. It'll be interesting to see what we got. And I hope Gindorf maybe could be something for us. I was surprised that we were able to get him out of North Dakota State.
Yeah, and they always have the diamond in the rough. But yeah, bro. I mean, we'll see how everything goes. We need to go hit a game this year, a couple. If you have any openings, I know you typically hit me up. But yeah, I'm excited for the schedule to come out. See when we got the Giants, and hopefully make a return back to New York.
May 11th. And then, of course, we also got to hit my buddy up in New York, my buddy James, who I met at after we did that last drive in Manhattan. I dropped you back off at the Airbnb, and I went back to Soho Cigar Bar, and I met this guy named James who's from Seattle, who lives in New York City now, but he also went to the game. He also wants to talk about potentially still going to the game. I want to see if we can find a way maybe for me, you, and him to get our tickets together in the same spot. Maybe we could try to get some tickets in the lower bowl close to like the Seahawks tunnel in MetLife Stadium.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Well, I mean, it's going to be an exciting year. Hopefully, get to catch some games together or watch some together, away games. But yeah, bro, I appreciate you coming on to this today, and I had to bring you on and get an episode. So
yeah, no problem, man. Sorry if I'm a little bit, exhausted from obviously, work day. It's just, but still wanted to be sure I get to bed at a good time. But yeah, I always want to come in and talk Seahawks whenever I can and give my thoughts. I hope I give some good thoughts though too. I try to do as best I can to be detailed in that too. But I think we have a lot to be excited about, especially after this. And then of course, see what diamonds in the rough we got in the undrafted free agents too. So, but yeah, definitely look at some highlights of C.J. Johnson after we're done with this too, and then Noah Gindor from North Dakota State.
For sure. Yeah. All right, bro. Well, I'm gonna definitely let you get doing your thing. I need to go wind down for the night myself. But yeah, this was a great episode, and you have a great night. All right, bro.
All right, catch you later, bro.
See you, man.
Go Hawks.